Me, Diesel at the time, 11 to 16 years old, only girl in the apartment kids group. I'm also stubborn and tough from having three brothers and played a crap ton of sports, so I was pretty muscular and not all attractive by most neckbeard standards. Save for this one, apparently. Snurgles. I named him after a Grubs thing, but also because he does this weird gurgling noise when he wants to laugh, sort of like what babies do, only his 100% forced on his part to appear, quote-unquote, cute. He's fat, and I'm not being unkind. He was generally outside the chubby range, though staunchly maintains not only women could be fat, and men could only ever be chubby. He was super doughy, too, and wore shorts that were supposed to be those skater shorts, but kept riding up his pear-shaped body until he looked like he had a wedgie. So, a little background. We lived in a huge apartment complex with a pool and everything, and in the brutally hot summers we could go down to the pool to swim. The kids and parents had their own friends group that formed when I was 11. So, and I usually, after a day of full swimming, we would all go back to my apartment where the adults would drink and play party games or whatever, and the kids would play Mario Kart or something. One of those kids was a boy my age named Snurgles, who was generally disliked because he was weird. Also because he molested one of the kids, but no one knew that until way later. Our parents all but forced us to be cordial to Snurgles, beside the fact the red flags the kids were getting from him. For starters, out of this group of friends, I was the only girl. I had three brothers with me, so I was more or less used to being around a lot of boys and doing boy things. But for whatever reason, Snurgles zeroed in on me and clung like a drowning man. He did this everywhere when we rode bikes home from school. At home, he would even invite himself after school. I have never been more happy to invoke the no one is allowed on the house until parents get home rule. He was generally super uncomfortable to be around. He would make a joke, and when no one laughed or responded, he would repeat it a few more times until someone told him we got it. We used to play hand touch football in PE in school, and when you were tackled, you were supposed to sit on the grass until the down ended. This kid was on the opposite team from me, and whenever he had to handle the ball, he'd run around making that super gurgling laugh. Then find me whenever I was in the field, tackled, and sitting down, put the ball in my lap, and then tackle me for real from behind. This tackle often included him pressing his pelvis into my shoulders. I could feel his junk. During a game of hide and seek, he followed me relentlessly while looking for hiding places and bragged to me how he had sex with his 2-year-old younger girl cousin. Of course, I was horrified and asked him if he even knew what sex was, to which he replied, "You pressed your hips together for a while," and wanted to demonstrate on me. I told him I would kick him in the balls if he ever touched me like that. There was a point where all my complaints about him were finally starting to be heard by my parents, and I talked with his parents and told him that Snurgles should give me some space because I was at that age, not because he was a creep, but because girl hormones. What was said to Snurgles by his parents was this: stop hanging around girls or everyone will think you're gay. Being gay in the place I grew up was not fun. Gayness was the punchline of seemingly every late night TV show. You were ogled by peers and sometimes beat up for it. Rather than try to be normal for a change, Snurgles instead panicked and started down the path of toxic masculinity as a way of proving his straightness. Not that any of this is an excuse for his behavior. He would shout loudly that I was not allowed to play chicken with the rest of the kids in the pool or volleyball or anything with any semblance of toughness. He would ogle me in my bathing suit until I had to go down to the manager and get special permission to wear board shorts and a rash guard in the pool. Girls weren't allowed to wear trunks, board shorts, or rash guards, even over a bathing suit. I did not know why. Maybe her girly arms were too weak to swim with the added weight? When I won in video games, he would throw temper tantrums and insist that no man would like me because I was not being demure enough. Luckily, the apartment kids for the most part had my back and shut him out when he copped sexist attitudes. Things started to change when I was 15 to 16 and bringing my friends home from school to go swimming. I have a lot of very beautiful friends who are sadly way too nice to strange weirdos. He was fatter than ever and smelly too now that puberty hit him. He acted like he was a kid still and that he did not need to wash his face or put deodorant on, so he was having an absolute horror show on his face at the time. When my friends were over, he'd go down to the pool fully dressed and just take one of the pool lounge chairs and leer at us with a smirk, almost though daring us to kick him out. Once or twice, a friend tried to get him to join us, thinking he was just an awkward dude and that perhaps the chlorinated water might be too good for his acne. He would ignore them and continue to smirk, and soon no one bothered paying attention to him at all. A couple of times I had a sleepover at my house when my brothers were away, and every single time he'd find his way to my front door, asking my parents if he would come in and play too, because my parents did not really care about whether or not I was comfortable. Assuming my discomfort was just hormones, they would let him in until at 8 p.m. He'd smirk at us like he'd just gotten away with something and watch us talk or play Monopoly. The final sleepover was when his parasitic, creepy acquaintanceship ended. "How about we play Truth or Dare?" he suggested out of the blue, doing that same gurgling laugh. I could particularly see his boner from across the room. His friends were pretty savvy, though, and said yes, only because they wanted to get a little payback for how shitty he was being. I do not know if there's any legitimate rules set for Truth or Dare, but the way Snurgles set it up was that we would each be asked Truth or Dare in a circle. The last person to get asked was him, of course. He was probably feeling pretty damn smug by then. All my friends answered truth, not giving him the satisfaction of doing outdates. He nevertheless tried to commandeer the questions, punctuating each one with that weird gurgling laugh. His first question of the night was, "Are you a virgin?" which was answered with a theatrical laugh by one of my friends. The rest of us all asked rather innocuous questions like, "What color's your living room curtains?" And he tried to interject with something gross like, "What's the biggest cock you ever sucked?" We ignored him gleefully, watching as he got more and more frustrated as the game went on. Finally, it was his turn, and he sat up with a grunt. "Guess I'll just show you you ladies how a real man plays." He scowled as he posed the same question, "Truth or dare?" He leered back, "Dare." "I dare you to go home and stay there." Snurgles was absolutely upset and demanded a different dare, like showing his penis or something, but we vehemently denied ever wanting to see any part of him naked or otherwise. He stubbornly sat there and turned to the next person in line and spat Truth or Dare at her. She responded truth, and he lost it. "You can't pick truth 2 times in a row. It's against the rules." "Dude, it's Truth or Dare. There are no rules." "Yeah, and besides, you're dared to go home and still here, so you don't get to bitch about rules." There was a lot of venom we've been holding back because by then they all knew how creep on me for the past 5 years and how my concerns were never taken seriously. If we could not get rid of him the legitimate way, then we could do it the mean girl's way. "Why are you whining so much? Go home already. No one wants you here." "You're so pathetic. Thinking you can annoy and trick one of us into doing your weird-ass fetishes? No wonder you don't have any friends." He did not make a "ree" sound, but I had to imagine what a wounded rhino sounded like. He was not far off. He kicked a music stand where it clattered loudly across the room. My parents were immediately in the doorway asking what happened, looking from the tear-stained Snurgles to the girls who were all sitting in circles looking scared by the sudden violent outburst. It did not take a genius to know who kicked the music stand. "They were making fun of me!" he cried. "He was being weird and asking us if we were virgins and trying to show us his penis." They kicked him out, barred his parents from their friend group for like a year, and banned Snurgles from our house for life. Epilogue. Snurgles has not bothered me in person ever since then. I'd like to think it's because he got a clue and realized how creepy he was, but I think it's more because my parents think he's a rapist in the making now, and threatened to get him kicked out of only high school in 15 miles if he ever spoke to me again. It also came out that he had been touching this little boy inappropriately and telling the kid that if he tell anyone, the kid's parents would think he was gay and hate him. So, lots of baggage there.